This is TWiT.
Not a flash in the pan. Adobe's infamous Flash player was anything but a flash in the pan, as we know. It was released 24 years ago. Wow, in January of 1996. And of course, back then, web pages just laid there. They didn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
They were predominantly static HTML. JavaScript, it turns out, was just beginning to happen, but it didn't have any of the new browser features to drive with scripting, so its application back then was very limited. But Flash added a complete, self-contained content authoring, local interaction, and animation facility. You know, you could write working games in Flash, and many developers did.
Yeah.
And because it was a world unto itself, it was inherently browser agnostic. If a browser had a Flash plugin, the content would run, period. Didn't matter which browser, though there weren't that many back then either. You know, it really was quite something for the era, and it was immediately adopted by developers to create interactive content for the web. As we know all too well, however, Flash's Achilles heel was that it was originally written, like most of the software of that era, with virtually no regard for security. And it was never really able to recover from that lack of security legacy. It was much like the internet back then. The fact that it ran at all was regarded as a miracle. Security wasn't even a thought, let alone an afterthought. But thanks to the incredible progress made in turning our browsers into fully programmable web application hosting containers that they are today, driven by JavaScript, there are more than 1,444,231 add-on JavaScript function libraries, and we now have a very mature and formalized DOM, the document object model, that allows a web page's presentation to be fully accessible and manipulatable by JavaScript. Consequently, the only thing that has kept Flash alive has been the residual inertia still remaining from its once, total dominance over that aspect of what it offered. So against that backdrop, last week, Adobe released their final update ever, which includes a kill switch, which will go into effect next month.
Wow.
And reminded the world that Flash is finally, once and for all, being extinguished forever. And it's not as if no one has received notice. It was way back in 2017 that Adobe, Microsoft, Google, Apple, and Mozilla made a joint announcement that they would be retiring support for Adobe Flash Player at the end of 2020. Well, that day has come, finally. In their final Flash Player release notes, Adobe said, quote, "We want to take a moment to thank all of our customers and developers who have used and created amazing Flash Player content over the last 2 decades. We are proud that Flash had a crucial role in evolving web content across animation, interactivity, audio, and video." And, indeed it did once. But beginning next month, Chrome, Safari, Firefox, Edge, IE11, and other Chromium-based browsers, which is like everybody else, will remove Flash from their bodies, and it will become impossible to put it back. So long and farewell. And whew. Wow. And, it has been fading. We haven't, we used to, the Flash breaches were just a constant source of unfortunately, of content for the podcast.
Yeah.
And it's been fading. Believe it or not, it's not gone. There are going to be some enterprise things that die next month. I know, it's just amazing. But, they're probably things that they're still working. The source has been lost. It wouldn't even matter now if you had the source because it's Flash. And so, it's just going to stop working next month. So
I get a lot of calls. I've been getting calls on the radio show from people who say, what do I do now? I said, what do you mean, what do you do now?
No kidding.
Nothing.
No kidding.
Well, I think they think there are sites that are using Flash that have long ago probably switched to other HTML5 technologies, like YouTube hasn't used Flash in years. So I think they think they're using it.
And often when you see a site that tells you have to install it, it's malware.
Yeah, don't.
Right?
Yeah.
It's telling you, it's like, oh, here, click this link. You need Flash in order to view the site content.
Right.
It's like, what?
No website that wants visitors would still be running Flash. So I told them, don't do anything. Don't worry about it. Get rid of it.